You press the brake pedal at a red light. Your body leans forward, just slightly. You barely register it, but somewhere in a wind tunnel outside Milton Keynes, an engineer is staring at a number on a screen that would make your stomach drop through the floor. That number is 2, just 2. And in Formula 1, it is the most feared figure in the sport. Not 200 miles per hour, not 2 seconds. 2G. Here's what that actually means. 1G is the force of gravity holding you in your seat right now. 2G is double that, pressing down on every organ in your body at once. It sounds small on paper. It is not small in a race car. Why does a number this modest terrify some of the most brilliant engineers alive? To understand that, you have to go back to a wet Sunday at Watkins Glen in 1973 and to a doctor named Sid Watkins. Watkins wasn't an engineer. He was a neurosurgeon, brought into Formula 1 almost by accident, and what he saw trackside changed the sport forever. Drivers weren't dying from the crash itself. They were dying from what happened in the milliseconds after. The car stopped. The body did not. And somewhere in that gap, forces measured in G could shear a spine or stop a heart before a single flame appeared. Watkins pushed the FIA to study deceleration the way NASA studied it, not the top speed of the crash. The rate at which speed disappeared. A car hitting a wall at 150 miles an hour isn't dangerous because of the 150. It's dangerous because of how many G's the driver's body absorbs while that number falls to 0. Fast is survivable. Sudden is not. This is the part most people never think about. Your car does not care how fast it's going. Your body only cares how quickly that speed changes. Sit in traffic at 70 miles an hour and you feel nothing at all. Slam the brakes hard enough to hit 1.2 G and your whole body strains against the belt. Push past 2G and something changes. Blood starts fighting against your own heart to reach your brain. That's why 2G is the number engineers watch so closely. Below it, the human body copes. It strains, it aches, but it copes. Above it, sustained for more than a second or two, blood pressure in the brain starts to drop. Vision narrows. Drivers call it graying out. Push past 4 or 5G for several seconds, sustained, and full vision can disappear entirely. Not from injury, from the body simply running out of the ability to keep blood where it needs to be. Formula 1 cars can hit 5G in a fast corner. They can hit 6G under braking into a hairpin. For a fraction of a second, some cars have recorded spikes near 6.5G during a crash sequence before the survival cell does its job. So, why does the number 2 get more attention in engineering meetings than the number 6? Because 6 is a spike. 2 is where the danger becomes sustained and repeatable, lap after lap, corner after corner, for 2 hours straight. A spike your body can absorb once. A sustained load your body has to survive 20, 30, 40 times a race without ever fully recovering between corners. Adrian Newey, the aerodynamicist behind some of the most dominant cars in F1 history, has spoken about designing not just for outright grip, but for how a driver's neck and core can physically tolerate the cornering loads his cars generate lap after lap. A car fast enough to pin a driver at 2G through every high-speed corner on a circuit isn't just an engineering achievement. It's a question of how much a human spine can take before Sunday afternoon becomes Monday morning in a hospital. This is where the story gets stranger. The safety systems built to survive high-speed impacts, things like the Hans device, the Halo, and the modern survival cell, were engineered around a brutal contradiction. To stop a car fast enough to save a driver's life, the deceleration has to be violent. But violent deceleration is exactly what a fragile human body cannot survive. So engineers had to solve a problem that sounds almost impossible. Build a car that decelerates catastrophically, in a fraction of a second, from 150 miles an hour to 0, while keeping the forces on the human body low enough to walk away. The answer wasn't a stronger car. It was a smarter one. Crumple structures, energy-absorbing foam, and deformable side impact panels don't try to prevent the crash. They try to stretch it. Spread the same total force over a longer span of milliseconds, and the G-force on the driver's body drops dramatically. This is the same principle NHTSA uses when rating road cars, measuring not just whether a car survives a crash, but how many Gs the crash test dummy experiences inside it. A car that survives a crash but subjects its occupant to too many sustained Gs can still fail the test. Speed isn't the enemy. Abruptness is. So why should any of this matter to you, driving a family sedan to work tomorrow? Because the same 2G threshold that haunts race engineers is quietly built into your own car. Every time you brake hard to avoid a car pulling out in front of you, your vehicle's crumple zones, seatbelt pretensioners, and airbag deployment timing are all working to keep the G-force reaching your body under that same dangerous line. Your seatbelt doesn't just hold you in place. Modern pretensioners tighten in milliseconds, specifically to reduce the peak G your chest experiences during a sudden stop. Your airbag isn't there to be soft. It's timed, down to the millisecond, to inflate and begin deflating in the exact window that spreads the deceleration force across your body instead of concentrating it in one violent instant. You've been living inside this engineering philosophy your entire driving life without ever knowing its name. Every hard break you've walked away from wasn't luck. It was a century of racetrack lessons. Some learned from triumph, many learned from tragedy, quietly built into the metal and foam around you. The same number that makes a Formula One engineer nervous in a design meeting is the same number your own car is fighting to keep you under, every single time you hit the brakes a little too late. And this brings the story to its quiet, uncomfortable center. For decades, race engineers treated G-force purely as a chassis problem, then purely as a safety problem, before finally understanding it as a human problem first. The car was never really the thing being engineered. The human body inside it was. Every crumple zone, every seatbelt pretensioner, every molded seat, every airbag timing sequence exists because somewhere an engineer sat down with a number, 2, and asked a very simple question. How much force can a human being absorb before the body itself becomes the failure point, long before the car does? Next time you feel your body pull forward at a red light, that small, ordinary lean isn't nothing. It's a car doing exactly what decades of racing tragedy taught it to do. It's spreading force across time, so your body never has to feel all of it at once. You pressed the brake pedal without a second thought. Somewhere in that ordinary moment, an entire century of racing's hardest lessons just quietly saved your life.